What if events went differently in Avengers 2012? What if a zombie outbreak happened? Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, to another brand new Marvel's What If episode. And in today's episode, we're finally going to be taking a look at what if a zombie outbreak had actually happened in Avengers 2012. Avengers 2012 is such a pivotal moment in the MCU timeline. So imagine if there was a virus that happened. It would be insane. And again, I really wanted to make this video for so long. I did another version of this a long time ago where that version was more connected to different events, but this is its own solo storyline. So again, I can't wait to get into this Marvel's What If. But that being said, my fellow watchers, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. But that being said, let's dive into the brand new Marvel's What If episode. Location: the woods. The weather seemed to know something dark had arrived on its territory, because the clouds over the woods were dark. It was windy, and it looked like the arrival of a strange being in a horror movie. When the wormhole opened, its blue light seemed to add some form of poetic wonder to the atmosphere, until the Chitauri entered the earth. 10 of them came out like soldiers who had been trained and had others to follow. The last Chitauri to come out dragged a box with him. One would think it was a treasure box until he opened it, and out came birds that earthly scientists didn't know existed. The birds had the color of the galaxy, as seen in scientific videos, but their claws were long. Their claws didn't curve, they were straight and pointed. However, the venom for humanity was in their beak. For the first time ever, birds possessed teeth. Maybe it was the best to describe it as a tooth with many teeth. As they flew and soared into the sky, the Chitauri looked at each other and stared, and they began walking out of the woods. A few meters away from where the Chitauri landed in the woods, a group of teenagers arrived from a school camping activity. The school buses were parked, and some were setting up tents. Others were offloading from the other buses, and some teachers were meeting with the camp guides. It was sunny, but gradually getting windy, so the instructors asked them to quickly set up tents. Suddenly, the dark clouds arrived with strong winds, and the teenagers looked in horror. One blonde female asked her friend, with whom she was setting up a tent, if she also found it weird that the dark clouds arrived that fast. The friend replied by saying that she doesn't specialize in geography, but would be excited to participate in a horror movie. She continued, saying that it had always been her fantasy to have a horror movie-like experience. However, the clouds became darker and darker, and the local guides said that they hadn't seen anything like that before. One girl with freckles all over her face picked up her phone and called her mother, asking her to come and take her away from the camp because it was a bad idea. When one of the teachers saw this, he went to her and collected the phone, stating that there are no gadgets allowed during the camp. He asked all of them to put their phones inside a basket, and they all started grumbling and cursing at the anxious freckled girl. Suddenly, one of the Chitauri birds flew over the campground and landed on the peak of one of the tents. The blonde girl who had just set up that tent with her friend saw it and was fascinated. She secretly brought out her phone, which she refused to drop in the basket, and went live on Instagram. She went closer to the bird and said that she may have just discovered a new species of bird. As soon as she got close to it, it launched on her eyes with its claws and gouged it out. Her phone dropped, and she screamed. as it bit her with its teeth. The camp guides and teachers rushed towards her to fight the bird, and her phone was capturing the scene. The bird lifted from her body and launched at one of the camp guides, making the teachers scream as they looked on. The teachers and other guides tried to fight off the bird, but some of the teenagers who didn't drop their phones in the basket brought it out and started recording too. After a few seconds, the blonde girl made a groaning sound and stood up without her eyes. She ran towards her friends, whom she set up the tent with, and started biting her. Then, the camp guide who was bit did the same to his colleagues. In contrast to the weather deep in the woods, it was sunny in the city. People walked around going about their business. The live video had barely started trending, so people were not aware of it. The birds flew in a flock over the city, and many people who saw them looked up to gaze. An 8-year-old girl who was walking with her mother staggered, a trauma, and started crying. Suddenly, the birds turned towards her direction and bit her. The mother screamed and tried to use her bag to throttle it, while others watched in horror at the shocking occurrence. The mother was also attacked by the birds. By this time, the police sirens went off as they arrived at the scene. Before they could park their vehicles, the birds launched at them through the car windows and started attacking them. Some police officers tried to shoot at them, but the birds didn't die. After a few seconds, the mother and child got up and started attacking other people. Quickly, coffee shops and business centers locked their doors and recorded the event live on the internet. Location: S.H.I.E.L.D. Clint Barton stared at the Tesseract in the room. About 45 minutes earlier, it had made sounds like a booting system. Shook the room a little, but it seemed to have been that. The other leader of the Chitauri had manipulated the time frame and caused a delay between Loki's appearance on Earth and the time the wormhole opened for the Chitauri. At this time, Nick Fury and Clint Barton thought it was a system malfunction, so they relaxed and were trying to figure out what happened. Nick Fury had gone to make contact with Tony Stark to see if they could get any help from him to understand the Tesseract. Unknown to Clint Barton, staff at S.H.I.E.L.D. were already following the trending news of the zombie virus, and Nick Fury was investigating it. After a short while, he left the room to get updates from Nick Fury, who had taken so long. As soon as Barton left, the Tesseract made the powering sound, and the room shook a little. However, Loki came out this time with his signature smile, and was surprised to find the room empty. He walked around a little to be sure, yet it didn't make any sense. Loki packed up the Tesseract in a briefcase and prepared to leave. As soon as he opened the door, he heard sounds of people running, and it made the ground vibrate a little. He stepped out of the room and was shocked at the number of people that ran past him screaming. The people passed, and he turned to look at them to find out why they were running. By the time he turned his face in the direction they came from, he saw a security guard with blood in his mouth, staring at him. The guard jumped at him and Loki dropped the briefcase to fight off the security guard. The security guard tried to bite Loki, but Loki held the upper arms of the guard and tried to push him away from his body. As Loki fought, Barton arrived at the door and saw the Tesseract, which had fallen out of the briefcase. He tried to pick it up, but Loki saw him and decided to use him as bait. Loki kicked the security guard in the stomach, which caused the guard to fall on his back. Loki ran away and the security guard saw Barton with the Tesseract, which had lit up and was booting up of the impact, which it fell to the floor. The security guard launched at Barton, but Barton couldn't fight him off because he was trying to get his hands on the Tesseract. Thinking Loki would have tried to take it, the security guard bit Barton on his neck, and blood gushed from his neck. As Barton struggled for his life, the security guard got up and ran to look for his next victim. At the same time, the Tesseract opened a wormhole in the hallway, which attracted the Chitauri army who were in the building. They came looking for the Tesseract and brought the birds and the zombies with them. The Chitauri picked up the Tesseract and the 4 of them entered the wormhole and left. Location: Stark Industries. Nick Fury sat in the conference room with Captain America, the Hulk, and Natasha Romanoff. He had just explained how he found Barton as a zombie and was forced to shoot him off instead of watching him act that way. He escaped through the underground exit and was lucky to escape. Right across him was Loki, standing in the corner of the room, and Bruce Banner looked at him. Nick Fury had found him outside the building and took him by force. Natasha said that she doesn't see a reason why they should trust Loki, and Captain America responded by saying that they didn't need to trust him to get information about the aliens from him. Loki laughed, which made the Avengers look at him. Then he said that Tony Stark will try everything, but will not find a solution because they are missing something important. Bruce Banner then asked what they could be missing, and Loki signaled at his handcuffs in his hands. Since no one moved, Captain America got up from his seat and removed the handcuffs. He told Loki that he would make a deal, that they wouldn't harm him until they have found a solution to the current zombie apocalypse. Bruce Banner then added that after that, he would personally kill Loki. Loki laughed and shapeshifted to look like the Hulk, then went ahead to intimidate him. He took a seat at the table in the form of Banner and said that Tony Stark should focus on sound, not anything bionical. He said that he observed that the zombies are attracted to sound, and the only way to eliminate them would be to kill them with their own powers. He gave them a frequency of sound to focus on and warned that they will need earmuffs during the operation. When Nick Fury heard that, he got up and said that he would deliver the message to Tony Stark. Captain America also got up and asked all of the Avengers to join in, making the device, before the danger was done. Location: the streets. As the darkness of the night settled upon the darkness that had spread in the city, the Avengers sat in the truck they had driven into the middle of the city. They arrived in armored, protective suits with earmuffs all over their ears. As soon as they arrived, their vehicle was surrounded by some of the zombies, who got attracted to the sound of the vehicle. All of them looked at Loki, who smiled and opened the roof of the door, and through a mini supersonic speaker in the distance. 2 seconds after, a loud sound, like the screeching of a metal on a surface, went off in the area. The birds and the zombies were attracted to it. All the birds flew and landed on the floor beside the speaker. The Avengers opened the door, and Captain America threw a grenade to the area where the birds gathered. The explosion attracted more zombies, who went to the site of the fire. Captain America gave them the order to move, and they all then proceeded with firing at the zombies, who started coming at them with force. However, the Avengers didn't fire bullets, but mini interjectors that caused the zombies to become unconscious. They needed to be sure the people could not be restored before shooting them. Romanoff got overwhelmed with many zombies coming at her. She fell to the ground as they punched on her, and her helmet came off in the process. While she focused on her body armor protecting her, one of the zombies launched at her hair and dragged her to the ground. She screamed, and Iron Man came to rescue her. By the time the zombies were off of her, she put her hands on her head and saw blood on her fingers. She and Iron Man stared at each other in horror as she whispered to herself that she had been hit. Just then, they felt a strange vibration, and the Hulk asked what happened. Loki responded by saying that the Chitauri is back because of the frequency of the sound that was used to destroy the birds. Suddenly, a wormhole appeared behind them, and they all turned to face it. The Chitauri came out gradually, followed by a flock of thousands of birds. Natasha said that they shouldn't have trusted Loki, and Loki responded by denying being involved. At that moment, Iron Man noticed that Natasha didn't turn to a zombie, so he asked her why she didn't turn. She realized as soon as he asked and responded by saying she didn't know. Captain America announced that they needed to find a way to escape because if they fought, they would lose the battle now. He said that Natasha was a ray of light for them in the battle. And that is going to be part 1 of What If a Zombie Outbreak Happened in Avengers 2012. Now, if you guys do enjoy these zombie type videos and series, I'm going to be currently working on my brand new original series, my own version of Marvel Zombies. It will be coming soon to the channel. I can't wait for its debut because I'm going to be giving you my personal take on if a zombie outbreak happened within the Marvel Universe. But that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are up to date with the latest content. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.